We're going live. And we're live. All right. Let's wait for people to show up. They may be eating some turkey right now. We'll see. People may be a little busy. Let's see. There we go. Some people are showing up now. There we go. Okay. So I know some people may be eating and they can watch this afterwards too. Hello. People are showing up now. Becky H, Evelyn Malone, Jen W, DJ Anthony, Kay Linville. Happy Thanksgiving. Very cool. I want to start right in the beginning by telling you guys at the end, I'm going to share some really good skin tips for the fall. It's actually for all year round, but I'm going to start putting in some skin tips on all my lives. So it's, something to look forward to, basically. Arlene, hello. Linda McKethan, good day from Australia. Donna Flanagan, Leah Munsard, hello. PZ4 fan, Heather Excel, and Deborah De Kozar. Awesome. Okay, so I wanted to start with what I'm thankful for. And I am thankful for you guys, first of all, just for supporting the channel. I know just the opportunity to educate that YouTube gives. And I really enjoy it more than I thought I would in the beginning. Even with their heavy restrictions, and they have really just restricted sharing everything. It is just stunted the growth of the channel, but it didn't stop me. I'm still going and having a good time doing it and talking with you guys and doing the lives. And it's actually pretty surprising as Mr. Pops It Live is actually doing better than my other channel that has 450 videos, and this one has like 30 videos, believe it or not, because I'm not showing procedures on this channel, and they are allowing ads on this. So that's been helpful too. So thanks for that. Thankful for my family, having healthy kids, my health, and my job. One thing people are asking where I was the last 11 or 12 days. We have, Mrs. Popsit and I had a heck of a 2 or 3 weeks here. About 3 weeks ago, all 3 of our kids were sick. And I think I talked about that before. We weren't getting much sleep, and they all had like 103.5, 104 temperature. That was 3 weeks ago. They all got over it, and we had a good 4 or 5 days, maybe a week. And then this last week, baby girl is just turning 3. She got really sick, and this is going around. It's happening all over the United States, and she got croup, so she was barking, coughing, which for 2 or 3 nights in a row, basically we were up all night with her. And kind of crazy, something I haven't really seen. I've never really seen it in person. She was peaking 104, 104.5, and she had chills, and we took her into to get some swabs, because I don't have those swabs at my office, to look for basically RSV, do the swabs to look for flu and for COVID. And she was negative on all of those, but she was cold. She had a little light jacket on, and at the office, they checked her when they checked her in. And then while they came in like 45 minutes later, she was at 106, which is very, very high, and dangerously high. So 106 temp is no joke. And, she had just come off her children's Tylenol she was on. So we gave her right then, they gave her more. We took the jacket off, and it came back down pretty quickly. And it's like, if it doesn't go down in an hour, you go to the ER, you get ice blankets and stuff like that, because that can be dangerous if it goes for, 6-8 hours. Even for a couple hours. Very scary. Even as a physician assistant, the last 2 nights we had breathing treatments. She's tripoding, putting her arms forward because she can't breathe, getting a little bit of retraction. And just, you can hear the wheezing. And, we were doing the hot water in the shower and breathing treatments. And it was helping a little, but man, it should be good for a couple hours and she'd wake up again like that. And you know, as a parent, you're not sleeping when they're like that. I mean, every sound, you just wake right back up. So you start to nod off and she would cough or she would barking cough, or you could hear her wheezing. It was a couple nights that weren't great. And she was sick a couple days before that. And then it got bad last couple days, but good news, she's out of it and on the other side. But one thing that was interesting yesterday, I got an update on my phone that there is a nationwide shortage on medications for children, and like amoxicillin or amoxicillin suspension and prednisolone. And they wrote her for prednisolone, which is an oral prednisone or oral anti-inflammatory, which is indicated for severe croup now. It works even better than doing the breathalyzers. But when I went to pick it up, the pharmacist was like, yeah, I've been trying to get this for 4 days. They're not sending it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So luckily I had written her for some 6-8 weeks ago for something. So we had some, which was a lifesaver. I mean, you know, luckily I was able to do that and thankful for the ability to do that. And so we use that, and literally within a day, she's doing way better. Temps way down. She's coughing, but it's not real croupy anymore with that bark that you hear. So likely a viral infection is going to run its course and be done in the next 2 or 3 days. Thank goodness. But man, late at night is when everybody goes to bed is when I edit. And, you know, you can imagine I'm working all day. I get up in the morning, I go to the gym, and at nighttime, the kids baths and all that. And having 3 YouTube channels. You can see my fishing channel is run a little dry because I couldn't even get to my main channels, Mr. Pops It. So, it's, you know, it's been a crazy like 10, 14 days. But I feel like we're getting towards the end of it. We got a couple, you know, I got tomorrow off. We got a couple days here, a long weekend, gonna have some good food, and it should be fun. So that's what I'm looking forward to and thankful for. And just thankful for you guys. You know, you've been so supportive, and it's been great. I'm really appreciative. Great comments, great questions. I'm going to go over some of those questions today. Hi, baby girl. Look who just woke up from her nap. Hey, mommy. We got a call. You got a little cough still, huh? Oh, baby girl. She's not feeling very good. Can you say hi? Look up there. Hi. Hey, mommy has something downstairs for you. Can you go get her? She's right downstairs, okay? Love you, baby girl. She just woke up from her nap. What a cutie. She's doing better. She's still got a little cough, but her temperature's coming down. What was I saying? I don't even remember where I was. But we'll get back to it. Oh, yes, catching up on sleep. So we, you know, we're going to have this weekend and we're going to catch up and it's going to be good. That's why I got to a video. Oh yeah, I edit at nighttime. So I couldn't edit. And it is, you know, gosh, these channels, I squeeze in every bit of time. I was telling somebody the other day, they're like talking about, oh, I'm bored or something like that. They said to me, and I was like, I have got all boredom out of my life. When you have a YouTube channel, basically, hey, Allie, go back down, baby girl. She's got something for you because I'm talking about something. It's okay. Mommy has juice for you. She has juice for you. Yeah. Mrs. Pasta here. Hey, there she is. She's like, just woke up. All right. Gosh, I can't remember what I was saying again. So, getting a good night's sleep, catching up. Oh, editing and being bored. If you have a YouTube channel, you can literally fill every second of every day so easily. I mean, there's no free time anymore. But I'm kind of that way. I'm always doing something. So it's like when I have, you know, we'll sit down and watch a little Netflix or something, have a glass of wine. But once she gets tired, then it's on to editing for me. And I usually do stay up late, an hour or two longer than her. And that's where all my editing happens. So that's a good thing. One thing I was going to talk about as well, my medical assistants. You saw one of my new medical assistants in this video. A lot of people have questions about that. Her name is Roxanne, and she's great. And she wants to be a physician assistant. So she is on the track. She's very close. She'll probably be with me for a year, and then she's going to be starting to be a PA as well. And she's sharp as a tack. I have a couple others that kind of come in and out. You haven't seen them yet. We're going to see who sticks. Maria and Elva, both who were with me for 8 years, have both moved on to other things. They got some other offers, maybe closer to home. And they got some really good offers. I was like, hey, if it's good for you, you got to take it. And they did. So they have a lot to offer. They're very talented, and I'm happy for them. I was going to do a big introduction video for them. We were working on that before the transition, but we never got to do it. Maybe they'll come back in and at least you can meet them, because they literally from the beginning were doing a lot of the stuff. So, but I have a whole new batch. A couple young women who are coming in, and they are some are recording. It depends on the office I'm at. It changes all the time. And that can be difficult when you're busy, because we got to learn each other's ways. They got to learn how I like to charts and all those things. So, but that, we'll be talking about that a little bit more too. So let's get to the third time's a charm cyst that we did and that I shared today. Yes, I know. Gosh, what is up with that? I agree, Leah. I might be a bit off more than I can chew. Luckily, I did that kind of the 3-year plan on my board and take little snippets at a time. I can just hyper focus on a little bit for a couple months, and I can go to the next one and go to the next one and take it in small bites. That's my goal, at least. We'll see what happens. But yeah, third time's a charm cyst. I see this presentation a lot. It was actually kind of fun because there's a nurse practitioner that works with us. I'm not going to say her name. I don't know if she wanted me to share that or not, so I'm not. But she's great. She's a newer one that has started. And her mom had a big cyst, and she, had seen some of my videos, and she's like, man, my mom has this cyst. It's big, and they've tried to remove it a couple times, and it's growing, and it's tender. I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do it. I'm honored. That was really cool that they thought of me. And her mom, I believe, is a nurse too. So they're both in medicine. And I was like, you got to make sure that on your off, she comes in on a day off so you can be there, because she really wanted to see it. And so I was like, well, I'll record it and you can get a close up, but it's cool to be in the room. And she was like, absolutely. So she was there. She had to bring her little one because it was her day off. But her little one, somebody asked, was the little one watching? He was kind of sleeping on her shoulder. So he did wake up, which you hear for a second, and she put him back down. You can kind of hear her tending to him. But you also hear her go like when it pops. She didn't expect that much to come out. So that was kind of funny. I thought it gave the video some texture, and it was kind of cool. This first baby sounds I think I've had on a video. The other thing, she had the 2 scars you could see. I think one time it may have been an IND. And because they packed it, she said, but I do see sometimes, there in certain offices, sometimes primary care offices, most derm offices have hypercators, but sometimes there are providers, they just don't want to cut real big. They don't want to go real deep in case they hit a bigger vessel. If they're not confident or they don't have a good way to stop the bleeding, like a good hypercator or any hypercator, sometimes they just have battery powered. So they don't go deep. They just try to cut it and they squeeze it out. But this is what happens. It comes back. If you don't really get in there and you take out that sac, this is something that's going to come back, and this is her third time dealing with this. And it was a moderate, it wasn't a huge cyst, but third time, So that's why I really concentrate on getting everything out. And you could see it was an older cyst, a dried contents. It was almost like a overdone hard-boiled egg, almost like not powdery, but very, very, very thick. And I showed what I do when I squeeze everything down. You can really see, like, when you have something that's pretty pushed out, like it's full, and you go to grab it with forceps, it's kind of like a balloon. It's got so much pressure and it's thinned out. You kind of pop it and you just dig through it. And it's like you're digging into it and you can't get a hold of it. You make a little cut and you squeeze everything out. then it kind of collapses on itself, and then it's more like a clump of it that you can get more with your grab and you can pull up better. I also keep that little skindle or scandal, the skin handle, that little ellipse that I cut on the top. I leave that for that reason because it's usually pretty attached to that as well. But sometimes, even when they're falling apart, I like to bunch it up a little and really pull up. And you can see in this, it actually went deep two different ways, probably because it was there so long. They had pushed on it. It kind of grew like almost lobulated, like a sack of grapes. There was a bigger part that went down straight down, and the little one that went back under where it was hard for me to see. And so when we squeeze that out, I pull up and you can see she felt it at the bottom too. So when I got a needle, it's only about that long, and you got a cyst that goes down almost double that. You're trying to infuse in there, but it doesn't really take much in the fat tissue. Fat tissue, there's not like it's below that in the fascial and connective muscles that you're going to have nerve endings, and then up in the skin. So you got this layer of fat in there. It'll just eat up the lidocaine. It disperses it a little bit. You'll get a little bit of anesthetization, being anesthetized there, but it's, what happens commonly is I get a numb all around, I start pulling them, and I'm snipping the bottom, they'll feel a little. So I'll go down deeper into that connective tissue. Once it's easy to see because the cyst is now small, I just inject in there, and just like we did, and they get numb in 5 to 10 seconds. Then you can really snip it out. So that works very well. And we did that in this case. So, it looks simple in that video that I did this morning, and we kind of, get right through, bam, bam, bam. We push it out, get the sack out, close it up. But in some offices, they really have, if you don't do this all the time, when a provider sees a 3 centimeter cyst, or if they're newer, getting down that deep and there's bleeders, some people, it really freaks them out. And so they just kind of cut a little bit and push. And I think, part of that might have been what happened to her the first time, or maybe it was in a primary care office, or maybe it wasn't dermatology. I'm not even sure. But all that matters now is that we got it out, which was great. Another thing about scar tissue and lidocaine, scar tissue is dense and it does not disperse like regular tissue does, fluid like lidocaine when you're putting it in there. And there wasn't the scar tissue was up. That's why I kind of cut over to the right and it had the end of the surgery be up there where the scar tissue was, because I knew that's where the scar tissue was going to be underneath. So it wasn't a huge issue on this one. But it's been a big issue on some others that I've done. There'll be quite a bit of scar tissue, and it can even be from them mashing down on it, and they cause chronic inflammation, and they get some scar tissue forming because of that. And that does happen. I've had it just dispersed all the way around, just more dense tissue, and I can hear it with the scissors, and sometimes I have to go back to the blade just to get through it. So that worked out nice though. And I think, yeah, that was all I wanted to cover on that cyst. Any questions about that cyst? I know that people talked about the baby being in there. They had questions about that there's people in the room. It was some of the people who work there that really, and it's cool because in some of our offices, we have urgent cares and a derm kind of together in a big room, or a big building, but we all have rooms on each side. But sometimes we sit in a main area, and I'm there with the doctors or physician assistants that are doing urgent care. And it's a good model because about 30% of what comes into urgent care, maybe more, is derm conditions, derm rashes and things like that. So, but if they're not super busy, like, hey, can I pop in and watch the surgery? So that's pretty common. And it's kind of fun. So every now and then they'll pop in there, and there's always a different one in there too. So it's nice. I get to meet new ones. So let's get to, oh yeah, I asked if there's any more questions. So let me take a look. Happy Thanksgiving from Arizona, Carolyn, for sure. Each time it came back. Yeah, good question. Generally 2 to 5 years, Donna. That's a good question. I have seen them come back in 3 to 6 months. You're going to see, and it's coming. I don't mean to tease it so early, but I just want to show that giant abscess. It was one of my last lives that we showed the initial presentation. I just wanted to get his couple follow-ups, so I kind of have the whole thing I can edit as one. He's doing great, and he had proud flesh, and that his cyst is so big, it might even been two cysts, is already coming back at like 8 weeks. So I'm having him back for surgery likely in a month, and that will be just 3 to 4 months after we did his drainage. So, and I have seen that common 3 to 6 months, a full cyst reforms and it's ready to go. Usually on the bigger ones where there's still a big abscess where there was still a lot of content in there because it got all mushy and you couldn't get it all out. Scar tissue being, I know. It's funny, each person has their own thing. Some of them don't like skin tags. It kind of creeps them out. Yes, there is, Jennifer. Good question. Um, sometimes even a little lidocaine with epinephrine in it. Some people are really sensitive to epinephrine. And we have, like, everybody, we have norepinephrine. We kind of have some of these same things that are in our system, but when a little bit more gets infused in, gets into the vessels, some people's heart rate will go up to 110, 120 for like 3-4 minutes, almost like an anxiety attack, it feels like. And I have quite a few patients that are sensitive to that, and we'll do it with no epi. They usually will tell me, it usually happens at the dental office when they're doing a bigger regional block and they put a little bit more in sometimes than we do, but I go 10 to 12, maybe 13 cc's. I don't like to go more than that. Even an average person can kind of start to feel a little jittery, or that, they'll get some epinephrine in there at a little bit higher level. And even the average person can feel a little jittery or heart rate increase. But normally 4 to 8 is what I need for a mild to moderate size or small to medium size cyst. That's a good question too. So gosh, 20 minutes goes so fast. Skin tips. Here we go. I just have a couple, and I was thinking, what do I say almost every day? And I do say a lot of things, but two that I think are really helpful, especially this time of year. There is a huge group of people that use Carmex, Burt's Bees, medicated Blistex, different types of lip balms. And they come in with just crusted, cracked, their lips are out of control. And I see this a lot. And there's a lot of reasons for it. Sometimes it's lip plumpers, or they're putting makeup on and they're having an allergic reaction. But a lot of it is this like positive feedback loop, the same thing that happens in Afrin. If you look on the box of Afrin, it says, do not use for more than 3 days, a nasal spray that opens up your sinuses. And I don't know, before I got into medicine, and maybe some of you have as well, I was doing Afrin for a couple weeks once. And after you get through the first couple days, you have this, like, it induces your sinuses to clamp down and almost shut. I couldn't even breathe through my nose. Takes a couple days, your body gets over it, and then it stops once you stop it. Here we go. Let's get this one out. Hide user on this channel. Boom. People coming in spamming. We don't need that. So, gosh, porn sites, these people, it's crazy. They haven't been on my thing in a while because YouTube doesn't share me much anymore, so there's nothing in it for them. But man, they were bad trolls, so bad in the beginning. It was crazy. But yeah, the rebound on Afrin, not fun. There is actually the same idea in Carmex and some of these lip balms, Burt's Bees. The more you use it, some people get this reaction, and it causes them to dry out and need to use it more. And then they're using it all the time, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And they're like, help. And they come in. And what I recommend, and it works great, is just Aquaphor, an emollient. It's just kind of like Vaseline, but Vaseline even has a medicated one that some people have issues with. And so I do recommend Aquaphor, and you can use it every half hour if you need to. I use it 2 or 3 times a day. It works great, especially in the wintertime. You will also see lip lickers dermatitis. People go like that all the time. It just dries out your lip. That moisture on the lip wicks moisture out and causes chronic dryness. So I do have a lot of people that use all these different lip balms. Usually they come in and are like, this is the pile I've been using, because they go from Carmex to EOS to Burt's Bees and all of these different lip balms. And Aquaphor is a great lip applicator. It's kind of got that little, it's made for the lips. You can get it at the front of most pharmacies. and have one in your car, one in your purse, one in your pocket. With kids, they're always like slobbering and whatever. So we have them all over. Tonto, hi from France. So we, I recommend that. They get better almost every time. So the other thing I recommend is another tip when people get a new cream, a new face wash, a new, um, uh, basically any type of makeup or those types of things that you're using, perfume, any of those, take a tiny bit, put it on the soft skin of your wrist 3 days in a row and see if you get a red spot there, peeling, bumps, itchiness. And especially if you have sensitive skin and you have a history of allergies, get these things, when you buy new stuff, just do a little test here for a couple days. It's way easier to treat this little circle than your entire face and neck or your whole body, like with soaps and things like that. Even shampoos and conditioners, you can do that. And just test. There's a lot of chemicals in these things for shelf life that people are sensitive to. Very common, actually. And I have people come in all the time. They have a history of eczema, and it's just exacerbated by these things. And they're like, oh, my eczema is just getting worse. But actually, they got a new cream or something that a lot of the things from, I think it's Bed Bath and Body Works, or the one where they have strawberries and all these floral scents. A lot of lavender is a big one. So lavender's in a lot of these things to make them smell better. That's so watching that you get these new, that's why I like CeraVe and Cetaphil, which brings me to my next one. Moisturizers. Which one do I recommend? Hydrating the skin with moisturizers, I always recommend, especially when I live by a desert here in Southern California. But in the wintertime, the air is a little bit more dry and cold. So, just drying out is common. Having sensitivities like allergies is common. But a bigger thing is deficiency in ceramides and filagrins, which are lipoproteins that hold your skin cells together like a brick wall and mortar. There are people, if you take away the mortar, it looks like this. Look, you can see it right there, the mortar and then the bricks. If you take away the mortar, the bricks crumble and fall apart. They don't hold up and the wall falls down. Same idea with our skin. It's held together. They've done punch biopsies. One sec, I'm going to close my door. All right, I'm back. So, I'm back. They have done biopsies on people that get eczema and people that don't get eczema. And what they found is big gaps in between the skin cells of people that are prone to getting eczema. For people who have ceramide deficiencies, they're just not producing enough or making enough. So you have to physically apply it and put it on there. And that's what CeraVe, Cetaphil, and a lot of actually the other brands have started infusing, like ceramide 3, 5, 7, that you'll see it on there in the ingredient profile. If it's in there, it's a good moisturizer. I like CeraVe better. It's not as oily or greasy, I think, as Cetaphil, but they both are great. If you've got, really dry, cracked skin, it's going to be very beneficial and helpful. And it's not only moisturizing you, it is repairing and has those repair enzymes that build back the barrier of the skin. Now, some people are severe enough, obviously that's not enough, but there's a lot of mild that it's more than enough, and they do great with just that. But the severe ones, or the ones that have allergies on top of it, they tend to need anti-inflammatories like steroids, oral or topical. So those were some fall skin tips. I hope that helped. Those are all good things that I say almost every day. Sandra, good question. I have a great video, and it's a compilation of the chatterbaits, the versatility of the chatterbait. It's coming. I tried to get this video out. I wanted to do a live, and then I usually go to a fishing video and try to work on it. It's the versatility of a chatterbait, like swimming it, top water splashing, and jigging it off the bottom just like a jig. It's a good video. It's got some underwater footage in it, and I catch a ton of great fish on it on every different presentation. I'm excited to share that one. I just can't get to the darn thing. I'm going to have to hire an editor at some point, but I don't have enough. That is not a monetized channel. I have to get like 3,000 more hours of viewing. It takes a long time, I've noticed, with fishing channels. Yeah, Absolutely. Heather, great point. I have had people sensitive to CeraVe and Cetaphil. They are made for more sensitive skin, but there are things in there that some people can't tolerate either. A lot of times they'll go to Aquaphor or Vaseline, and I have people that are sensitive to that too. I have people that are sensitive to Aquaphor. I'm sorry, to what was I going to say? Not Aquaphor, aloe vera. So people, that's a plant, and most people it soothes burns and it soothes the skin. But yes, people can be allergic. St. John's wort, green tea extract, all these natural based plant based anti-inflammatories. They're plants, and they've got oils and things that they can be sensitive to. So let me see here. Blowing here. Yeah, the winds, Ellen, are crazy. We took the kids trying to burn a little calories before we eat tonight. On a long 3-4 mile. We took some strollers too, so they can jump in and out as Mrs. Popsit and I do some jogging, pushing the kids, and it was like 20-mile-an-hour plus winds, wearing glasses and everything. But geez, it was crazy. So yeah, Lynn, I do catch and release. It's all catch and release on my lake. I really only eat saltwater fish. I have eaten freshwater before, but for the most part, I eat saltwater. But I like sustainable fishery, smaller lakes. If you just open it up to take out, even with limits, eventually, especially in a busy place like Southern California, they'll fish it dry. So I live on a private lake, which is nice. So, that keeps just people that fish it, but it's not overly fished and it's all catch and release. That's why we get some giants in it, which makes it fun if you like to fish. So, Neosporin, the type of stuff, what would you recommend? Yeah. So, Neosporin, that's another good point. Neosporin's been around a long time. Neomycin is what's in it, and it's a very common allergen, a lot of times in the top 5. Polymyxin B is in polysporin, which you will find right next to the Neosporin. Not as high of an allergy profile. I do recommend that. One thing, if they can tolerate Aquaphor or Vaseline, the reason why people recommend that is in the first couple of days, keeping it moist tends to help with the granulation coming in instead of it drying out. I do like it to dry out a little bit later though. And then you get a nice dry scab. It's nature's Band-Aid and it's still moist underneath healing. But in the beginning, until you can make that, the first couple of days being moist is helpful. And there's not really a lot for bacteria to use in Vaseline or Aquaphor. When you're covering it makes it harder for them to get in. You'll sweat right over that usually, and they can't utilize anything in it to help procreate or grow faster. So that's why they recommend that a lot of times. So those are some options, but I think that's good. Wow, 32 minutes, man. Oh, I am a little bit of a blowhard. I can talk. Yeah, Arlene, I like that idea. And I'm coming up on, I only have like 5 more months or 4 more months to reach 4,000 hours. I'm going to try to put some new good content up on there so you have something to watch. But, if you're sitting at the desk or on your phone, just hit it on loop. It does give me some hours on the fishing channel, which is always nice. I also have put some of my fishing, which has helped. I put my fishing videos at the end of my Mr. Popsit videos, and that's what pops up. A lot of people will just hit it, or if they have it on autoplay, it auto plays it. And that does seem to help too. But it would definitely go up if even a small group of you had some of the fishing ones on autoplay. It's funny. My kids watch Blippi or Peppa Pig, and we'll put it on sometimes, and they're watching something and they run off, and then I come back in like an hour, 2 hours later, and it's just sitting there playing, just ads, just playing in their room. I'm like, oh man, if only people would. I gotta get kids watching my fishing shows. But I think to myself, they just had a loop right there. That's good for them. So that's good. I like, great idea, Arlene, though. Thank you for that. And let's see, but do you need to be dry, hydrated, find it hard getting the balance? Oh yeah. You can have oily skin, but still be dry. Yeah, some people are combination skin. They'll be dry in areas or oily in areas. We tend to be more oily on the face and scalp and on the extremities and the hands, farther away from the heart. Less oxygenated skin, dries out quicker. So that tends to be, but there's exceptions to every rule. But great, guys. Thanks so much. Happy Turkey Day. Funny story. We were supposed to actually go to, we have some great neighbors that are that we've known for years and years that are Sikh, they're Indian, and they're having a wedding, a 4-day wedding over this whole weekend. And we were going to go. We were going to go. It sounded so fun. We were like, oh, we don't have to cook. And they, the food and dancing, the whole deal. But our kids got so sick. We're going to try to hit the last day of it. We're hoping, fingers crossed, that the boys don't get it right after baby girl does, or they've already had it, hopefully. We're going to try and hit the last day. But we didn't have food prepared. So yesterday we went out and then we're like, you really want to deal with this big old huge turkey for just kind of 5 or 6 of us? And I was like, do you want to just get filet mignon? So we're going to have filet and mashed potatoes instead of turkey, which I totally love. So very cool. That's just a funny little food story we're going to do. And I smoke it. I'm going to smoke it, do it just right. It'll be good. Maybe I'll take a picture and post it. But hope all you guys have a great night. So that's, make sure to tell your family you're thankful for them. It's so important. In closing, every now and then I really get lonely people in my room, and it reminds you of how lucky you are to have somebody close. And just older people that have had people pass away, younger guys sometimes that have really bad conditions like warts all over, and they're just having trouble finding a woman to date, or a man, if that's what they're into. And I try to talk with them. I try to give them hope, and it's good to do that for people in your life too. I enjoy doing that. Being happy. I come in the room, I'm all happy usually, and I can just see them light up. And you really got to sit back and take a moment and look in the mirror. When you have your health, and you've got loving family members, and you're getting with them today. If you're in the United States, I know you're not probably celebrating other areas, but make sure to just tell them thank you. And it takes a village to to be alive anymore, and especially to have kids. But you can't do it without these people around you. So tell them you love them, and that you're thankful. And I'm thankful for you guys. Thanks for popping by. Have a great Thursday and the rest of your weekend. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. All the good things. So thank you. Make sure to sign up to Mr. Pops It if you're just on Mr. Pops It Live, which I have found some people just found this, and Mr. Pops It Fishing. And we're just going to slowly keep growing. It's good times. Thanks again, guys. Be safe. We'll see you.